What? Okay. Oh, and what a beautiful evening for football it is. Good evening, sports fans. Welcome to Friday Night Football at 810varsity.com. We've got a good one between the Jaguars, the home Jaguars of Mill Valley High School, and the visiting Ravens of Olathe Northwest. We're I'd say about 5 minutes from kickoff. Gives us a short opportunity to go through some starting lineups here. First for the visiting Ravens of Olathe Northwest. On offense, at receivers, Brylar Gildart, the 6'1" senior. Nathan Leeper, the big tackle, number 65. How about Laith Ashkar? Where's the number 50? He's a 5'11" junior. Dean Gorby, we're going to talk a lot about him as well this evening. Sports the number 72, and he is the big center right in the middle. That guard, Jack Scarta, big number 60, a tackle, Iyasu Merid. Where's number 55? Matthew Mosim, and I know I'm going to butcher this, so my apologies to Matthew and his family. Matthew Mosim Mimbo. How about that, David Trimble? Now, just so we're clear here, if I'm saying it correct, my name is Sean Brewer. If I'm saying it incorrectly, please send your hate emails to 810 Varsity. Attention, David Trimble. At the tight end or the Y position, Andrew Murray. He's a big 6-foot senior. Where's number 23? How about Dallas Keaton? Where's number 31? He's the running back. Merrick Griner. He is the junior quarterback, 6'2", 201. Where's the number 12? And how about this? A freshman, 6', 211. That is Ethan Flourish. Only a freshman getting the start tonight. Kind of out of necessity, the coaches tell me, because he just don't have a lot of depth. And this young freshman has shown that he certainly has the skills to produce from that running back position. On defense for Mill Valley, first, at strong safety, number 9, Lincoln Gray, the 6'1" senior. Evan Seifert, where's the number 22? He's a 6' senior. Garrett Clark at that wheel linebacker spot, a 6'1" junior. Where's number 32? Garrett Cronin. He is the senior free safety, wearing the number 4. How about Jake Fisher, number 2, weak safety at one corner. Walt Midyet. Long line of the Midyet family, the family athletic tree. He's a 5'9" senior. Where's the number 11? On the other corner, Hayden Appleby. More on the Appleby family tree later, but Hayden Appleby is going to be wearing the number 17, the 6' senior. Sam Coletti, the big defensive end, 6'2", 197 senior, wearing the number 51. Truman Griffin, all is 6'3", 257 pounds. 257 is exactly right. He's put on 30 pounds in this offseason. Second team all Sunflower League and a lot more. How about Abe Schaefer, number 58? Big 6'4", 258-pound senior Jaden Woods. Jaden Woods. He wears the number 5. We're going to let his actions speak for themselves, but Mr. Woods certainly has a lot of accomplishments and accolades just for being a junior and one of the top defenders in this country. And as we said, Walt Midyet, number 11 at the other corner, but we are moments away from kickoff. Kicking off will be the Ravens, the visiting Ravens of Olathe Northwest. Kicking off is going to be number 91, Tanner Trashel. Not only does he have a 4.4 GPA, he is one of the top kickers in this state. A special teams bonanza for this Raven team. And friends, we are underway here at Mill Valley High School, Jaguar Stadium. Little extracurriculars there after the whistle, but these players, David Trimble, they are fired up and they are ready to go, ready to hit someone besides someone from their own team.
It is week 1, and they are super excited like you said, to be hitting somebody besides their teammate, and that kick was very impressive. A touchback, and I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of those today.
And 1st and 10 for the Jaguars. And there was a little bit of discussion and kind of a debate whether or not it was going to be senior Daniel Blaine getting the start or Connor Bohan, the 6'3" junior. And it is going to be Daniel Blaine, 5'10" senior, 160 pounds. He has never in his life as a Jaguar in a game thrown a pass, and he doesn't need to. And he got Tristan Shaken Baker in the backfield. Pushes ahead over the left tackle for about a gain of 4. Going to punch it out to the 24-yard line. Brings up 2nd and 6 for the Jaguars. Connor Bohan, the 6'3" junior. Coach Appleby says now Connor will be playing in this game. Maybe give a couple of series to Daniel Blaine to kind of get his feet wet before we see big number 16 enter the fray. So I was saying before, the total, looks like we have a flag a little bit. That might be a false start. We'll see here. That's going to be 5 yards. And they just gave back most of what they got on that first down run by Baker. But the total completion percentage of every quarterback on this Mill Valley roster, David Trimble, take a stab at what that completion percentage is.
I'm going to say they're a little bit better than average. I'm going to say 60%.
You would be wrong. It would be 0.
0%.
So I said the only quarterback on this Mill Valley roster that has attempted a pass in a game is the one that we see right now, and that is Mr. Daniel Blaine. He's going to take the snap, gives it over to Tristan Baker, gives a little shake and Baker, gets his team out to around the 23. Looked like he was waiting for a block to kind of sit up before he punched through there. It's going to bring up 3rd down on about 7. Kind of uncharacteristic for a Mill Valley offense to start the game. But here we are, new team, new season.
And you got to credit that Olathe Northwest D for collapsing on that play, not letting him get around the corner.
Talk about Jake Brink and some of these, and Nathan Leeper, the 6'4", 242-pound senior. Number 65 there on the defensive line for the Ravens. Not only can he play a little bit of football, he's got a 4.12 GPA to go along with the 27 ACT. How about that, partner? 27 ACT. I was happy if I got a 27 on my math homework, let alone the ACT.
Yes, this team is full of students that are definitely going to be playing on Saturdays. And after the penalty, he's going to keep it in.
And there he goes, and he's got some room, 50-40. He might go all the way, quarter, dime, all the way to the nickel. 1st and goal, Mill Valley.
He doesn't need to throw it. He'll just run for it.
Daniel Blaine. Last year, he accounted for 2 rushing touchdowns. He averaged over 9 yards a rush. You can see why. He's got some of those go-go gadgets, almost those jet packs in his wheels we see Tristan Baker sport. Daniel Blaine doing his best impression of that. 1st and goal, Mill Valley. Ball spotted at the 7. Handed off to Baker, right up the middle. Touchdown, Mill Valley. The touchdown maker, Tristan Baker, puts the Jaguars up first, 6-0, 9:54 left to play in the first.
And that was just hard-nosed right up the middle. We are going to score on this play. They had the mentality, and they made it happen.
How about Jack Fulcher and Sully Sunderman clearing the way, and also Eric Pinner, younger brother of Timmy and Tommy Pinner, the 5'11 junior, getting it done. Coaches are really high on the 5'11 junior, wearing the number 73. And for the extra point attempt, Mr. Automatic, that is Kenton Loffman, able to punch that one through and makes the score 7-0, 9:54 left to play in the first. And we will be right back here on A10Varsity.com.
Get a shake with your points and some fries on the side with your points. You get more with every order. Get a Whataburger or
Hey, can you hear me?
Or some
You doing okay?
with the point. You get more with every order. Get a biscuit or a brownie, but no matter what you pick, you get more. Like your favorite Whataburger or whatever, 'cause it all gives you more.
Well, it took just over 2 minutes of action before Mill Valley found pay dirt. They go 80 yards, following about a 55-yard run by Daniel Blaine to get him in scoring position. And Tristan touchdown maker Baker finishes it off with his first touchdown of the year, makes it 7:09:54 left in the first.
I liked that. I'd like to hear you say it 10 times fast. Touchdown maker Baker. I think
Betty Botter bought some bacon. I don't know.
We might say it a lot this game. I just don't know if you're going to be saying it that fast.
Well, you know, I am a professional auctioneer, David.
I did not know that.
You seriously?
I knew that.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I did.
I was going to say. Well, as we've known each other. Well, here is Kit Loffman on for the kickoff duties. Loffman, of his 93 kickoffs last year, 43 were touchbacks. Not too shabby for a junior. Getting a lot of looks from a lot of area colleges and universities for his skill set. Got to be playing some ball next year on Saturday. Loffman's going to punch that one back into the end zone. Touches about 5 yards deep. And we will now get a look of this kind of this revamped Raven offense coming into this game. And Coach, you know, he kind of tells you exactly like it is, and that is head coach Lauren Clark. You know, they don't have a lot of experience at some positions, but what they make up for is, you know, in hustle and kind of that grit that you need in order to, you know, kind of develop a team this early in the season.
And they've got the talent on the specialty players, the kicker, the long snapper. They've got the talent there, and they just need to develop a little bit more on the receiving core, tight end. Their O-line, they're only returning one. So they're going to have to get these guys some reps and get them built up.
1st and 10 for the Ravens from their own 20-yard line. Here's Merrick Greinert. Got a pass right over the middle, and that's going to be an easy 20 yards. 1st and 10 from their own 40. For Olathe Northwest.
That was a fantastic acrobatic catch. He got the ball with one hand, then brought it in, held it tight as he impacted the ground.
Raise your hand if you saw that one coming from the first play of scrimmage, a gain of 20 yards for these Ravens. Certainly to the pleasure of, I would say, close to 400 students on the far sideline. 1st and 10. Greinert, this is going to be handoff. That's going to go to Dallas Keaton, a big 5'8", 200-pound senior. And we got a helmet on the field. I think that was Mason Schlitterhorn. And I know I'm going to say that incorrectly about 5 times tonight. Mason Schlitterhorn. I think you have to say kind of quickly. No, I don't think so.
Schlittenhard.
Sort of like you don't say Louisville. It's Louisville. Like New Orleans. Not New Orleans, it's New Orleans. And right here, it's 2nd and 7. Ball's at their own 43. 2 receivers set to the far side. Oh, I love this. They got one tight end to the right. I formation handed off to that I back. That is Dallas Keaton. And Keaton's got some room. Keaton turns the corner. He's at the 30, the 25. And I think they're going to say that he was tripped up right around the 25. Maybe a little bit further back. Wait for the signal, but regardless of where they mark him down, that's going to be enough for another Raven first down.
And I think number 11, Walt Midlet, I think he saved 6 points right there.
And Walt Midget did as well.
Letters and words are hard for me, Sean.
Letters, words, and numbers are hard for me.
Yeah. But that was a fantastic run right there. And Olathe Northwest is just matriculating the ball right down the field.
There we go.
To bring one from Hank Stram.
Hank Stram has entered the chat. Another handoff. This one goes to the left side. That is number 32. That is number 32.
Jalen Douglas?
I do believe it is. Jalen Douglas.
And he almost had kind of a sit back and wait approach, see what the line develops, and then hit the corners, and he bounced off his own men a couple times and tried to get around the outside, just not able to get there.
When you have the shakes in order to do that, the little bit of zig to go along with the zag, that is exactly what you can do to give yourself a little bit of time. Two receivers set to the near side. 2nd and 6. This time going to the right side, nothing doing. That was Jaden Douglas. Jaden Douglas, the 5'10", 157-pound sophomore, one of a number of underclassmen in the skill positions, getting a lot of playing time early on here for the Ravens.
And when I was watching that handoff looked a little awkward to me. It almost looked like he wasn't expecting him to take it, and he was going to roll out and try and hit one of those receivers. Maybe first game jitters coming in.
Who, me? Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, me.
7-11, 7-10 left in the first. 7-0 score. Jaguars up over the Ravens. The Ravens, though, getting ready to knock on the door. That one just a little bit loose. A little skip in front of that receiver. That was intended for Matthew Samimbo. Hey, I think I got it. Samimbo. Matthew Samimbo, the 162-pound, 6'1" senior. Saw him before the game. It says he's 6'1", 162, but he looked about 6'3", 220. Built like the proverbial house, as they say.
And they have a kicker that can definitely make this one.
And why not? Going to be spotted at the 36-yard line. This will be a 46-yard attempt. The kick is up. It's got plenty of leg. And it is, at least it looks good from here. No signal, and it is good. How about Tanner Trashel from 46 yards? Gets the Ravens on the board, 7-3, 6:48 left to play here in the first. Who saw that coming, David Trimble?
I did, because that young man has footage of him on Twitter hitting 6 for 6 at one of the, I believe that was at the Yale camp that he attended this summer.
Well, I mean, who doesn't go to Yale for football camp? We're going to keep it right here. Well, let's see. Have the official, they're saying 6:40.
I think he wanted the clock to go to 6:42, I believe. 6:52.
6:52. Or they're saying we need a table for 7 at Waffle House after the game. One of the two. Make it 9, fellas. So we're going to meet you there.
All right, we've got that all sorted out. 6:57 to go. First quarter. Olathe Northwest moving the ball really well. Just kind of stalled out there. And you gotta credit Mill Valley's defense on that one. They had a little bit of
Silver Stars will be performing at halftime. If you're tuning in to watch that performance, well, I got bad news for you. It's not going to happen. Due to some of the copyright laws, I guess, and regulations on the streaming services, we have to stop the broadcast at certain times. So certainly no disrespect to the Silver Stars. I know they do a great job. In fact, I think they're like the 3-time defending state champs. I think they were the first 6A team to win the state dance con. Now, you know what? I am out of the weeds here.
I was going to say, I am definitely out of my element on that one.
Stop there, and here's Trashel. That's a high one. It's going to be fielded around the 1-yard line, bringing it out 10-15. He got a little bit of room, and a little block falls down all the way to the 33-yard line of Mill Valley, and they're going to have nice field position for their second series of this game, up by 4, 6:52 left in the first. We'll see if it's going to be Blaine or whether or not we're going to see Mr. Connor Bohan for the first time. Then it is going to be Mr. Blaine, Daniel Blaine. How many times am I going to say David Blaine? I'm going to say he's David Blaine when we don't see him out there and we see Connor Bohan.
Because it's like a magic trick.
Indeed it is. Single back behind Blaine is Baker. Twin receivers to the near, one to the far. Going to be another handoff to Baker. He zigs, he zags. He's getting pulled down around the 38. To bring up 2nd and 6 for the Jags.
And that was a nice move again. He's just letting his O-line get that push. If you can get 5, 6, 7 yards on first down, that opens up a lot of possibilities for second down.
Brylar Gildert, I believe I'm saying that correctly. Apologies if I'm not. 182-pound, 6-foot senior was in there. He came from a long way away to make that play, showing off his athleticism. Another handoff up the middle, Baker, and it is tough going inside despite the size and that beef that the offensive line out of Mill Valley has had for a number of years. Mason Kemp on the right side, Gus Hawkins on the left. Gus Hawkins, one of the recruits for the Kansas State Wildcats, will be taking his talents down the road, I-70 to Manhattan. In the future, 5:45-44. Here's Blaine, another handoff, going right back to the bell cow. How about that? Right on cue. Could we? I had no idea that was going to happen, but, you know, when you hear that cowbell, there is really no other player that I have seen. I know that Dawson Kindler out in Gardner Edgerton is certainly kind of fits that bill, but one of those backs, and when you say bell cow, it's the back that can be there in first down, second, and third, whether it's short yardage or they need somebody in there to block. That is Tristan Baker, the all-around utility bell cow player for these Jaguars. 1st and 10. There's the bell cow to the 49. Push back. Stood him up. That was a good stop. Coming up and meeting him again. That is Bryler Gildert. You know, he's playing both ways, as are a number of these Olathe Northwest Ravens. We got Merrick Greinert. Not only is he quarterback, also the starting free safety. Merrick Greinert added 15 pounds in the offseason.
As did I.
Well, I was going to say, not like we would. This is all muscle. More on that in a second. Here's Blaine. He's dropping back, rolls out. He's got a receiver over the top. Can't quite bring it in, but that's big old Brody Brigham trying to use his frame to reach out and grab that one. Doesn't quite come up with it. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 7 from just inside Mill Valley territory.
And that's just the first passing play that they've run, and they were fingertips away from having a fantastic play right there.
That is the second pass in his career, Mr. Daniel Blaine's. Now 0 for 2, but I have a feeling he's going to rectify that in a little bit of no time. Baker to the left, hip pocket. Rolling out, and that might have, well, it looks like maybe a false start on the right side of the line. I'm not going to call out anybody on the right side, but might have been just a little bit eager there. Sometimes when that happens, they might have some little trickaroo.
And that went against them. They got up there. He got under center, tried to do a hard count to get the other team, Olathe Northwest, to jump off sides. And then once he got back under there again, a little bit of trigger finger, happy feet maybe.
One of my favorite movies. Happy Feet. You haven't
Mumble.
seen Happy Feet?
I have.
Ball's at the 44-yard line. Blaine looks back to his left. He's got a receiver. Plenty of room in front of him. Don't know if he's going to have the first down. It's going to be awful close, but that's Brody Brigham. And Brody was able to bring that in, and yes, he had enough for a first down, and there is the first completion by any
like
quarterback on this Mill Valley roster.
Just like that, 33% for his career.
33%, not too shabby. Make an announcement, somebody left their lights on. I think that was license plate 059 KRH. For those of you that might be listening, but we are watching. There's number 28 coming out of nowhere. He is just a scooting and a scatting around. That was Andy Watts, the 5'9", 164-pound junior. Andy Watts is kind of one of those spark plug type players. You know, well, might as well go ahead and mention the game last night. My beloved Cornhuskers took one in the chops to the Golden Gophers out of Minnesota, but Nebraska has this player, number 1 on the roster. His name's Billy Kemp. He's all of about 5'8", but he just plays with his hair on fire. And if you see his hair, you would understand that reference. 2nd and 7. Blaine again rolling out to his right. Plenty of time. He's going to tuck it and run down to the 30. He is not afraid to lower his shoulder, and he lowers it all the way down to the 27-yard line. And that's going to move the chains again for Mill Valley. First down, Jaguars.
Rolled out. There was good coverage by Olathe Northwest down the field. Didn't see anything open, so just tucked it down and said, I will get that one down there, and it's 1st and 10.
And that was absolutely fantastic coverage. They did a great job adjusting. They're starting to pull up that strong safety. And there, it's just kind of the bulldozer play. They give it to Tristan Baker, and he just somehow, every time he touches the ball, he's good for at least 4 yards. I wonder if his last name is Sherman as opposed to Baker. Maybe it's his middle name.
Sherman?
Tank? Yes, thank you.
Sherman Tank.
Or Abrams, perhaps.
Abrams Tank.
What else? The Sherman, the Abrams, the Highwalker, is that what it was? I don't know. Enough about it. How about history? There's Mr. Touchdown. When I say Mr. Touchdown, that was Davion Harris. Little story about Mr. Davion Harris, number 10 for Mill Valley. Last year going into the state title game, he had 3 receptions and 4 touches. In that state championship game, he finished with 3 touchdowns. So certainly very formidable from that slot position. He's going to get plenty of touches this year. Good job. I think that was that was Jake Scard almost getting in there in time. Aforementioned Scard. Let's see who. It's going to be another first down for Mill Valley, and I don't mean to sound disgusted, but it's a little bit frustrating. I wanted to make note of the linebacker that came up, but sometimes on some of those numbers kind of get scrunched up there. And I'm just going to have to guess. I want to say that Nathan Leeper and Matthew Samimbo were in there on the stop. And there's Blaine. He's going to take it himself, and why not? Touchdown, Mill Valley. Daniel Blaine makes it 13-3, 1:32 left in the first quarter.
And that was just him having excellent field vision, seeing what was there, finding the seam, following his blockers, and getting into pay dirt.
Ken Loffman on for the point after attempt. Jaguars setting up in that swinging gate formation, seeing what the defense gives them. When we have a timeout, and it looked like over on the far side, I'm not sure which coach that is. It's not head coach Lauren Clark, but there were a couple of Raven coaches. They were not pleased with something, possibly some extracurriculars. We'll see what kind of expression, some sort of body language, and Coach Joe Lapp will be out there who's talking to him around the 27-yard line. And they're just going to walk on back. Maybe they were talking about that Waffle House trip. And let me be clear here, folks. Waffle House is not a sponsor, but we'd love to have them be one. It's all about the the Whataburger and Jack Stack. And that one splits the uprights. Getting Loffman. 2 for 2 on the day. Makes it 14-3, 1:32 left in the first. Jags up by 11. We'll be right back. Hey, can you hear me? If you feel like it, as it's like, on one end of the field or the other, kind of zoom in just a little bit. Use your good judgment. You know how to do this, so I don't want to get your biz, but, just sort of be mindful of that. Great job so far, man.
Understood.
.132 left in the first quarter. Jaguars, their second score of this first quarter. 2 drives, 2 scores. Result is 14-3 on the scoreboard, up by 11.
And Olathe Northwest has got a little bit of work cut out for them, but they are not getting blanked, so that is definitely a good improvement over the last time these two teams met. and they are about to receive the ball. 1:32 left to go in this first quarter.
We talk about a lot of the new faces on both of these squads. Not only are the number of new players, I think that one was just inside the goal line. It's going to be a touchback, going to bring it out 1st and 10. From the 20-yard line, the Ravens with their second drive this afternoon. First one is relatively fortuitous, resulting in a 46-yard. I mean, that was, talk about Legatron, the Thunderboot. And there was plenty. I tell you what, that was probably good from 57, 58 yards.
And he's got the leg to go consistently from 50 yards. He went 6 for 6 in one of the camps that he attended this summer from 50 yards.
1st and 10, ball on their own 20-yard line. Single back behind Merrick. I believe that is Brett Piercy. Able to bring him down behind the line of scrimmage. That's big number 58. Number 58, wearing that old Christian Roth number proud.
Abram Schaefer.
That would be Abe Schaefer indeed. Abe Schaefer, the 6'4", 258-pound senior.
Moving around like he's half of that.
I'm going to tell you what, he had two sacks last year. Yeah, official timeout. Couple of times we've done that so far. The heat index, beg your pardon, is relatively mild compared to last Friday. I tell you what, partner, over there at Rockhurst High, I think at kickoff we had an 8:15 kickoff, and the heat index is 101.
And that does not take into account the 15, 20 degrees that being down there on the turf
or
adds.
The 30 degrees of hot air up in the booth.
Absolutely.
It was a mess. We barely got through it for so many reasons.
Not sure what the official timeout was, but we're ready to go.
Clocks are running, 40 seconds left here in the first. A little bit, I think that, again, based on the motion over on the right side, there may have been a little bit of maybe a little razzle-dazzle coming our way. But
I couldn't tell if it looked like maybe the back went into his motion a little early.
And we have a young man here. Well, young, that's subjective, but I swear I thought it was Buddy Garrity. Look at him down there. Wish we had another camera. Next week. No, 2 weeks from now. Back to this game. More importantly, 23 seconds, 22. Might be the last play of this first quarter. Garrick to the right, wide open. Beyond the 25, out to the 27-yard line. Going to be just shy of a first down, but certainly manageable on third down for the Ravens. And that's going to do it for one quarter play here at Jaguar Stadium in beautiful western Shawnee, Kansas. Your score, the Jaguars 14. The Ravens 3, and we'll be back right after this on 810varsity.com.
Coach here has always been a bacon and cheese Whataburger ad hoc.
Hey, you need anything?
Until now.
All right, buddy, you're doing great.
Whataburger Southern Bacon Double. Fresh beef patties, Monterey Jack and American cheese topped with crispy bacon, crunchy slaw, and a tangy Southern-style sauce. That's what we call an edible audible. Good call, Coach. The limited-time Southern Bacon Double from Whataburger. Just like you like it.
And back with your David Trimble. What do you got? First quarter stats.
And it was a run-heavy game on there. Mill Valley ran the ball 14 times as opposed to 2 passes. They had 7 first downs, 2 penalties. Olathe Northwest, 5 runs, 3 passes, 5 first downs, 2 penalties. And scoring drive, touchdown at 9:54 and touchdown at 1:32. And back to Sean to start off this second quarter.
3rd and 2 for the Ravens. Swinging out left side, kind of a high, long developing play. Didn't get there quite in time. The receiver out there, let me see who that was. Was that number 6? That might have been Mason Schlitterhard. He had to wait for that one to come in. That was sort of like a pop fly. And by the time he did bring it in, guess what? There was a Jaguar defender right there to greet him. Stop short of the first down marker. It's going to bring up 4th and 3 for their own 27.
And I don't think I saw any kind of punt unit come on, so I think maybe this might be a quarterback.
Well, we can tell you this, that the backup punter is number 12, and it looks like the Ravens are going to go ahead and take a timeout. Reaching into the pocket, pulling out their charge card to charge one at the, whoa, boy, how about that? 4 ones. The 11-11 mark left before halftime. 14-3 is your score. Mill Valley over Olathe Northwest. We'll be right back.
Biscuits and taquitos and breakfast on a bun. Those are just a few of the things you can make a part of your morning routine at Whataburger. Then again, with so many choices, you could make a routine of not having a routine. But would not having a routine still be a routine? Chew on that for a while. Whataburger breakfast, just like you like it.
And we will see what coach drew up after that timeout. I don't know if he didn't like the defense that he saw or if he just wanted to try and get something going for this big 4th down.
I kind of wonder if they didn't have the right personnel in there, but it certainly looks here at 4th and 3, and now the backup punter, he's just going to go ahead and move over to his right, kind of pooch that. That's going to take, very fortuitous Mill Valley bounce. I think that bounced right on the sideline before going back inside Mill Valley territory. 1st and 10, Mill Valley up by 11. If you're a Mill Valley fan, you'd certainly like to get them into the end zone again before halftime, build up a little bit of cushion. But, I know, Captain Obvious here, but if you're Olathe Northwest, you got to feel pretty good. You've given up a couple of plays, but you've done relatively well on defense so far. Only given up 14, but here is Shakin' Baker. And that's what he does. Boy, he's just a joystick. Just so much fun to watch. He is one of the most durable backs that you will ever find. Saw him a number of times last year. In fact, the year before. He's got an older brother that played for Mill Valley. Also with
Barry
the last
Sanders?
It is not. No, he did not play for Mill Valley.
No, was
Barry Sanders
was the human joystick?
Could have been. He absolutely played like it. And there is Mr. Baker again, brought down this time at the 37-yard line of Olathe Northwest. And Coach Appleby says, let's get this train a-moving. He is signaling, let's get it going. There's big number 14. That is Bohan, hands it off again to Tristan Baker. Gets about half of what he needs. And let's see.
I'm pretty sure that they didn't give him time to make substitutions. There was an extra defender on the field.
Official huddle at the 32-yard line. We'll have some halftime scoring updates from around the area for you. Brought to you by A10varsity.com. Jim and Chad and Nolan and Reese back at the A10 mothership. Feeding the squirrels and making sure the lights are staying on. Putting together those scores for us. This has taken quite a long time. Partner, I'm not exactly sure. Neither sideline seems to be too animated. Well, as we see the white hat, he's making a signal over to Coach Appleby, but I'm not sure what that sign language is.
Oh, okay. I was just getting ready to say I think they might be picking this one up, but they are marching Mill Valley.
All right.
Okay,
well, so if I'm not mistaken, there was a net gain of about 7 inches. But I could be wrong.
Could not
All right.
hear.
You see the Mill Valley faithful were going to be told of the unofficial attendance here shortly. 10-11 left before halftime, 14-3, 1st and 5 now for the Jaguars. The junior, Connor Bohan, hands it off to Baker, who sprints for the sideline, and he was tracked down. Heat-seeking missile.
Merritt Greinert getting in there and showing off that speed to get there and get him down on the ground.
Look, it's 85 degrees out here, and you have players that are playing both ways for the Ravens, kind of out of necessity, but hats off to them. I mean, talk about kind of that fortitude, beg your pardon, easy for me to say, fortitude to kind of dig down deep and get right back out there to support your team. Bohan keeps it himself to the right side. He is stood up. He's a big boy, but he falls down. Depending on the spot, that's going to be awful close to the first down marker.
I was going to say he was stood up, but then somehow appeared almost to the first down marker.
I want to give a quick shout out to Jim McClintock. Am I saying that correctly? Jim is turning 53 years old today. Happy birthday, Jim. Longtime listener of A10 Varsity. Always glad to hear from many of the listeners and viewers. There's Bohan left side. That's no problem on a first down. He's kind of like that, not really gazelle necessarily, but his legs are so long he can cover so much ground in just a couple of steps, and that ground was good enough for a first down. They got an injury timeout, 8:58 left before halftime. 14-3 is the score. Mill Valley over Olathe Northwest, and you are watching it live only on A10Varsity.com.
Jackstack carryout comes in clutch.
Coach here has always been a bacon and cheese Whataburger add jalapenos guy. Until now, because he just met Whataburger's Southern Bacon Double. Fresh beef patties, Monterey Jack and American cheese topped with crispy bacon, crunchy slaw, and a tangy Southern-style sauce. That's what we call an edible audible. Good call, Coach. The limited-time Southern Bacon Double from Whataburger. Just like you like it.
And as we have this opportunity unfortunately, for an injury timeout, Sean's going to run through some scores for you.
How about we start with Bishop Miege and Blue Valley North? Reason we're starting there, Blue Valley North, of course, longtime defensive coordinator, Coach Drew Hudgens, taking over that proud Mustang program. This year, they are down by 14 to the Stags of Bishop Miege, 14-0. That is the second quarter score. How about this one? Blue Valley and Blue Valley Southwest. Now, typically, you would think, well, Blue Valley's probably going to have their way with Blue Valley Southwest, but I tell you what, looking at that Timberwolf roster, they are going to be a tough outcome playoff time. And I tell you, don't want to prognosticate too much, but we could certainly see these Jaguars and those Timberwolves meeting up down the road. How about a scoring update from Lawrence? Lawrence up over Olathe South, 21-0, second quarter score. Aquinas and Blue Valley West all tied up at 14.
Who's winning that one?
Well, last time that I looked, it was tied. Blue Valley West and St. Thomas Aquinas. Now, Blue Valley West, many said, might be down this year, while St. Thomas Aquinas, one of the top teams in the A10 varsity top 25 poll. We'll definitely keep an eye on that one. How about Blue Valley Northwest up by 7 over St. James, 7-0, second quarter score. Olathe North and Olathe East. Olathe North only up by 6, second quarter score, 6-0.
And it's very nice to see Tyler Manzella up and able to walk off on his own.
Tyler, don't call me Johnny Manzella. See what I did there, David Trimble?
Johnny Football.
Indeed. He's just kind of taking his time, walking to the sideline. Going to get some great attention from the medical staff. Medical staff here, the athletic trainer for Mill Valley is Jake Brownback. Same spelling. Got to be related somehow.
And we're back. 8:58 to go in this first half. Mill Valley threatening again.
There's Bohan. He's going to keep it himself. Over to the left tackle. Brought down around the 3-yard line. That's going to be first and goal. Did he get it right there? That's going to be just shy. That's going to be second. I believe he can get a first down again, but he might not need to.
And looks like they're going false start on that one.
And they're going to make it a little bit more challenging on themselves. First game jitters. Number of, how many is that now, David Trimble? Penalties for this Jaguar
4.
team?
That's, well, and honestly, I'm assuming that it was offsetting penalties when they did the little move it back 5 yards, move it back forward 5 yards, but we weren't sure. But I'm going to say it's 4 penalties.
And now we have 2nd and 6. As I said, they can get a first down if they punch it down to around the 1. Let's see what they do here. Matt in motion. It doesn't need it, but there is Bohan from the left side. I beg your pardon. That was number 14. Indeed it is. Connor Bohan, the 6'3", 191-pound junior, punches it in from 6 yards out, and it makes the score 20-3. 8:14 left before halftime.
And he could have just waltzed in there. He had no Ravens.
Could he truly waltz?
I think he could have done maybe a box step.
Do-si-do.
A foxtrot, if you will.
Electric slide, as we see.
Boogie, woogie, oogie, oogie.
As we see the sliding leg, sweeping the leg, is Kenton Loffman. He's a perfect 3 for 3, beg your pardon. Makes it 21-3, 8:14 left before halftime. And Mill Valley, you can kind of sense it, kind of getting back into that offensive groove. There's a lot of newcomers in the skill positions on this Mill Valley roster, as there are for Olathe Northwest on both sides of the ball.
And Mill Valley taking advantage of that. A little bit of a shorter field. They got that one at the 40.
Isaiah Butler, number 21 for Northwest. He's got a 34-inch vertical. 34-inch vertical. He runs a 4.740. And 19 solo tackles last year. And I believe, I don't know if it's his brother, but I think there was a Eric Butler that was just one of those hard-nosed runners and kind of a linebacker as well last year for this Raven team. Olathe Northwest, Bear Hafner kind of started to kind of turn the fortunes for Olathe Northwest about 2 or 3 years ago. He's since departed, and now head coach Lauren Clark, after a state semifinal run, they kind of ran into a buzzsaw to finish their year last year, but only one win away from a state championship game appearance. Not too bad for the first-year coach. First-year head coach, beg your pardon. Lauren Clark was a tight end for the Wildcats, for Coach Snyder down in Manhattan a number of years ago. That's one position we haven't seen the Ravens really get involved too much so far in this offense, but they do have the receivers. Andrew Murray and Chris McCormick in that Y, or that tight end position. Merrick Reinert, 6'2", 201, also plays a little defensive back, a little quasi-safety. His team's down by 18. Handoff inside. Little delay handoff. That's going to go to number 21. I think that might have been Isaiah Butler. How about that? Right on cue.
Right on cue.
Just singing his accolades on defense. Now we have an opportunity to do the same on offense. We turn on the lights here in the press box. It's still a beautiful evening out here at Jaguar Stadium. Be a little more beautiful for these Ravens if they can convert this first down. 2nd and 4 from their own 26. Going to keep it himself. A long pitch. It's on the ground, and that's going to be Jaguar football. Coming up with it, big number 58. Have yourself a night, young man. That is Abe Schaefer. He says, I had a sack. I'd kind of like to have a fumble recovery as well. And what do you know? He goes out there and he gets one. That one was set up by kind of an errant pitch, a little bit behind the ball carrier. Right place, right time. Good athletic recovery by Abe Schaefer. Gives his Jaguar team fantastic field position. Ball's going to be spotted at the 26-yard line of Olathe Northwest. 7:29 before half. The Jaguars up by 18. Connor Bohan to the left is Baker. Bohan going to use Baker as a blocker. Baker is a blocker. Bohan, Baker.
Bohan, box for Baker.
Betty Botter bought some butter. But she saw Tristan Baker, said, hey, I'm going to get out of your way. See, that kind of rhymed too. How about that?
It did.
Oh, boy, we're getting off the rails in a hurry, just like last week. Did I tell you about the 10 patties on the hamburger?
I'm not sure I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Man,
More on
there
that in a
was some
second.
Zarda barbecue out there to start this one off, and that smelled fantastic.
Well, I think you meant the Jack Stack, good sponsor here on A10 Varsity. And then a good run by Tristan Baker inside the 15. And enough for another first down. Be 1st and 10. Ball spotted at the 15-yard line. To the near side. That is Grayson Scott, number 18. Lining up, Davian Harris to his right. Single back set. One receiver to the top of your screen. Harris in motion. He gets the carry, and he is tripped up by number 1. And again, Brylar Gilder. He is just an athlete.
And he read that one all the way. He stayed home, made that tackle. And Olathe Northwest would absolutely love to have a stop right here after getting giving the short field position to Mill Valley with the turnover. Bringing up 2nd, and I'm going to call it 13 on this one. Play clock down to 10. And another handoff. He's going back and almost brought down in the backfield, and I think he might get back to the original line of scrimmage.
Now that is something you do not see Tristan Baker do too often. But this Raven defense, and again, Brylar Gilder, not sure what his official tackle tally is on the evening, but he's got to be approaching 10 so far. 6 foot, 182-pound senior. Getting it done. He is flying around the ball. 2 tight end look, single back, Baker. Bohan's going to pull it back, looking to throw. Doesn't really have anybody giving him help. And they're going to, how about that? There's Mr. Touchdown, Davian Harris. That is his 2nd reception on the evening. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that means that half of the receptions that young man has caught in a Mill Valley Jaguar uniform have gone for touchdowns. Touchdowns, David.
They are not giving him the first down on that one. I could have sworn he was past those sticks. But
4th and 1. See if they try to go for a hard count. And they do. Let's see.
The Mill Valley faithful, they saw him.
They
from up
absolutely
here.
did. And Coach Appleby with 5:05 left before halftime. He's going to go ahead and burn one of his timeouts. And we'll take a quick timeout here as well. 21-3 is your score. Mill Valley over Olathe Northwest. You were watching it live only on A10varsity.com.
Get a shake with your points and some fries on the side with your points. You get more with every order. Woo! Get a Whataburger or a patty melt or some breakfast with the point. You get more with every order. Get a biscuit or a brownie, but no matter what you pick, you get more. Like your favorite Whataburger or whatever, 'cause it all gives you more with Whataburger Rewards.
21-3, 5:05 left before halftime. Mill Valley has a big 4th and 1. Ball on the 6-yard line. They've got about a half a yard to go. Won't be surprised if they decided to load up and kind of go right behind the Eric Pinner train on the left side of that line. And that's where Baker is going to start. And there he is. Baker says, "Hey, Mr. Pinner, can you clear me away?" And he obliges. Eric Pinner getting the job done.
Pitter patter, get after.
And Gus Hawkins to the left of Mr. Pinner. Gus Hawkins, he put on 30 pounds in the offseason. Of good weight, they say. And yes, again, I've put on more than 30 probably in the last 6 weeks, but that's a whole other story. First and goal, Mill Valley, 21-3, 4:42, 4:41. Left before halftime. Connor Bohan, the junior, keeps it himself. Right side and right into the end zone. Touchdown, Mill Valley. Connor Bohan. And there are the lights, and we see, I think, the emergency vehicles there are getting into some of the fun across the way. We've got, now for those of you that are watching for a moment, we've been here at Mill Valley a couple of times, and the first time that we saw these flashing lights, kind of looked at each other like, is anyone else seeing that? Or is that just kind of us?
Yeah, am I having a medical emergency right now? Or
Indeed. Well, maybe the vehicle over, that might be a tow truck, now that I say that. Speaking of toe, we're going to see if Kit Loftman can put his toe on some leather and put it through the uprights, as he's done so many times. In fact, last year, Loftman, believe it or not, 70 of 70. He had 74 attempts at extra points. 74.
I can believe it with this Mill Valley offense. They
Absolutely.
are explosive.
What do you say, partner? Keep it right here.
I think we're going to keep it right here. 4:35 left to go. Second quarter, first half coming to an end.
Let's do a quick little game recap. What started out is, after that first drive, I shouldn't say the first drive, about the first 3 or 4 plays for Mill Valley, kind of gave you a sense that, maybe the technical term, I think, is a little bit out of sorts. A little discombobulation, perhaps, but it didn't take long. In fact, behind the wheels of Daniel, don't call me David Blaine, he escapes down the sideline and puts his Jaguars in scoring position. And they go ahead and convert and make it 7-0. Coming back the other way, Olathe Northwest. They march down the field. They are stopped by that stingy Jaguar defense. Started to kind of gel, but they came out with 3 points after a 46-yard field goal by all-world kicker Tanner Trashel. Not only is his leg good, his GPA at 4.4 is pretty darn impressive as well. And that's 4.4 out of what?
4.4 out of 4. Of course, if you're taking AP or honors classes, it can bump it up to, I guess you could be a perfect 5.0.
And another one that's going to go out the back of the end zone. How about that? Kit Loftman does it again. As I mentioned before, last year, nearly half of his kicks resulted in touchbacks. So far, he's had 3 of them tonight. 28-3.
Make that 4. He's had 4. He is 4 for 4 on kickbacks.
That's right.
Touchbacks.
3-4. It's pretty close.
220, 221, whatever it takes.
What a great movie.
Mr. Mom is a
one of those movies
underappreciated movie.
Why
I
isn't
think.
that in rotation? We see Shawshank quite often in some of those movies, but more importantly, let's talk about this game. 28-3, 25-point spread between these two teams. Here's Granart out to the 25, 26. That was 5 tough yards. He just gutted that one forward. And there's Abe Schaefer looking for a little bit of help from his teammate. His teammate, I think, had his eyes somewhere else. But fortunately for him, he gets credited for the tackle, and he is having himself a nice coming out party. Abe Schaefer there in the big 58. Jaden Woods to his right. Not going to see too many plays running at Mr. Jaden Woods. One of the top players not only in Kansas but across the United States, and that one a little bit behind Bryler Gildert. And Bryler, as we mentioned so many times on defense, having a spectacular game, and he's trying to do the same on offense. Touch a ball a couple of times. Hasn't resulted in much, but he is part of that scrum whenever he has an opportunity.
And I think the name of the game for Olathe Northwest has got to be safe plays, especially with the fumble on their last series. They cannot afford to give Mill Valley any field position like they did that last possession.
3rd and 4, big third down play. Ball in their own 26. Going to air it out, down beyond the 50. And how about that? Cannot come up with it. Bryler Gildert. He had an opportunity, but how about the defensive stop? That is number 32. Impressive by Garrett Clark, the 6'1", 189-pound junior, using all of that frame to get just enough meat, get that paw up there and knock that ball away. And that's going to make it 4th and 4 in a punting situation for these Ravens.
And he all but had that ball. I mean, I don't see how he was able to get his hand in there, his paw, as you say, and get that one out. I thought he had
paw.
Jaguar paw in there to rip that ball out.
I'm not calling you my paw. Back in punt formation.
Coach was running down the field trying to get that time
I
out.
think they might have been. Yeah, there's going to be a teachable. You know what? That was number 6, and I'm going to go ahead and say Jackson Lawler, my man, 5'7", 141 senior. Jackson Lawler is going to get an earful from the coaching staff. Now here on the sideline as well as in film study tomorrow morning. When your number is called, you have got to be ready. Might have been just a little lethargic getting on the field there, but it matters not. 3:15, just a second above pie time here before halftime. 28-3, 25-point spread. Jaguars up on top. First game of the season for both of these squads. David Trimble, they come in, both of these teams, Mill Valley and Olathe Northwest, come in with an undefeated record.
That is fantastic to hear.
Not often do we get any sort of a game where we have a battle of undefeateds.
Battle of undefeateds to start off the year. First week in Kansas. Missouri started last week.
Did they?
They did. We had the pleasure of calling that Rockhurst game, Rockhurst-Raypeck.
Oh, I tell you what, that Raypeck, they've got a lot of great parts. They're going to be good later in this year. Kind of like this Olathe Northwest team. A lot of similarities there. Loaded with talent, but they just need a little bit of time. They need some practice, out on the field, playing somebody besides themselves and practice. They'll get that experience. Along with that, the wins will start coming. Back at his own 12-yard line. That one's kind of a low line drive. That's going to bounce. It's going to be taken up around the 36-yard line. And there's plenty of room. He cuts back. He gets to midfield and maybe punches it over midfield. That is number 23. That is Clayton Sondergroth, the 5'9", 165-pound junior. Clayton, talk about a joystick.
And the body control that he had.
He reminds me of that. Who's that one guy, the administrator for the DeSoto School District? Riffle is his last name?
Yes.
Yes. Oh,
the body control to be able to not have that momentum carry him out of bounds and able to cut that back in and pick up an extra 7 yards, I believe.
1st and 10, ball just inside midfield. 3 minutes before halftime. Blaine hands it off to Baker. Baker falls forward into Raven territory. Brings up second and around, 8 yards to go. As a reminder, at halftime we will have area high school football scores. Compliments of 810varsity.com. Jim and Chad and Nolan and Reese and everybody back at the 810 Mothership working tirelessly to keep those scores updated at 810varsity.com. And again, that might, I think that might have been Davian Harris. Maybe kind of got a little bit too anxious there, or it could have been the left tackle or the, left guard. Not sure who that was.
And that being the 5th penalty of the game for Mill Valley, or against Mill Valley, if you will. I'm going to have to chalk that one up to opening game jitters. We don't normally see a lot of penalties against them. They usually play a pretty clean game. I think that's just going to be a little bit of a learning curve.
2nd and 13. Here's Blaine rolling out to his left. He's got a receiver, almost an acrobatic contortionist-like catch. Couldn't quite bring that one in, but that was Big O Schreiber, the 6'1", 200-pounder, wearing the number 1, Cooper Schreiber. Again, one of those that he's listed at 6'1". I'm not sure. Who was that? Arlie Ermy was saying you're trying to squeeze out a couple inches there. I'm not sure because he looks a lot bigger from here.
Well, I think it's the white pants are very
right.
slimming. They stretch him.
That must be it. 2 minutes to play before halftime. 28-3 is the score. Here's Blaine again. Another rollout going right back. If it worked once, it's going to work twice. Right back to Schreiber. Schreiber brings it in right around the first down mark. And I think they're going to mark him maybe a half a yard shy. That's going to bring up, fourth and 1. Beg your pardon. Okay, 4th and 2, they say. How about we split it and say 4th and 1.5?
A long one.
Going to go for a hard count. Try to go back to the well maybe too many times there. He typically does that at least once or twice a game. And I think Coach Appleby's going to play this one safe. Looks like a little pooch there. Sky-high punt by Blaine. That takes a nice bounce for the Ravens. I tell you what, partner, 1:47 left before halftime. The Ravens down by 25. They got 2 timeouts left. Certainly plenty of time, as you said before, to matriculate the ball down the field. And really, what was his name last week? Jonathan Classic. Like he said, how do you eat an elephant? Well, one bite at a time. And that is what these Ravens are going to try to do, trying to peck away, as Ravens would do.
They would peck.
Not woodpeckers. Drop back, and he is hit. He stands in there. And that one, certainly the defender has every right to go for that ball. Incomplete pass brings up 2nd and 10.
Yeah, but they are lucky that they almost didn't get an offensive pass interference on that one.
Merrick Greinert stood in there strong. He took a lick. He did get that ball off, obviously, before the pressure got him down. But what a tough competitor he is. He is a treat to watch. 2nd and 10, ball to 24. 1:42 left before half. 2 back sets, single receiver, both sides. Greinert has to roll out under pressure. He's going to keep it, tuck it, and run, but he has nowhere to go. He's going to try to the outside, and he coughs it up. No word on whether or not his leg was down. From up here, it looked like his knee had touched. But again, that's kind of a bang-bang play, and I think they will say that his knee was down, was Merrick's, before he coughed that one up.
Or Alex Coker was able to cover that one back up. I'm not sure.
That was big 58 in there again. Abe Schaefer wreaking havoc. Abe Schaefer, the younger brother of Aiden Schaefer. The great Schaefers of Western Shawnee, Kansas. Great supporters of Mill Valley Athletics. 102-101, letting plenty of time tick away. I think at this point, the Ravens kind of resolved to, hey, we just need to hit to the locker room. 3rd and 7, Griner looks to pass again to the rainbow right side, and this one is caught. And that is big number 1. Finally, able to celebrate a reception. That is Bryler Gildert. Bryler Gildert has been looking to get one of those all game long, and it finally came his way despite great defensive coverage by the Jaguars. Timeout on the field, 28-3, 46 seconds before halftime. The Ravens have it 1st and 10 from the Jaguar 43-yard line. Be right back after this on A10Varsity.com.
Jags that carryout comes in clutch.
And that student section over on the other side for Olathe Northwest is getting hyped up. They want to go into half with getting some points. And they realistically, Sean, are only about 10 yards away, if that, from field goal position with their kicker's leg.
Well, he's hit one from 46 so far this evening. And you're exactly right, partner. Another 10, he's going to be right back into his range if he's not pretty close to that already. He's been handed a sheet of paper. Unofficial attendance here for opening night here at Jaguar Stadium at Mill Valley High School, 3,612. 3,612 here in Western Shawnee, Kansas to see the Jaguars and the Ravens. 46 seconds left before halftime. Greinert has receiver again, a little bit short of the first down marker. Clock's going to run. Only one timeout left for the Ravens. 35-34. Not a lot of sense of urgency now. They're starting to kind of pick it up a little bit. Are the Ravens? Late substitution. They're going to have to get set. 25-24. And Greinert again going back to the well. No flag. Yeah, there it is. They're going to have to on that one. That's not a horrible play either defensively, but that's going to put the Ravens in excellent position. I think they're going to mark that one probably. Where are they going to mark that? 15. Where was the ball? We will see here shortly. 17 seconds, partner. One timeout for the Ravens. And how huge would this be? Say that rhetorically, of course. If the Ravens could somehow manage points. 3 points, 6, 7 ideally. Heck, maybe even 8 to head to the locker room with just a little bit of momentum.
I mean, it would be absolutely huge for the momentum and for these young athletes going into halftime, have a little bit of pep in their step and say, hey, these may be the 4-time reigning champions.
Indeed.
We're hanging in there.
17 seconds left before half. Griner waits for the snap. This time he's going to look to his right. He is under pressure, and he is knocked down, and he takes a shot. There was Jaden Woods in there as well as, that was really all Jaden Woods. How did he do that? Somehow, if you kind of watch that on replay, he kind of sneaks through the line, and goes back. Maybe he's checking his text messages. He just kind of floats wherever it is that he'd like to be. He's just that kind of that fast twitch type of athlete. What a treat it is to watch him.
And then I was going to say, and then at some point in time, he's got to hit the afterburners because when I finally did notice him, he was moving.
14 seconds before halftime, 28-3. Ravens driving. Greinert over the middle. Had a receiver, can't connect. 9 seconds left before halftime. 3rd and 10. As we said, one timeout left, presumably. This is going to be kind of tough. You're on the road, the 4-time defending state champs in their house. You're down by 25 points. You're knocking at the door. You're just outside of the red zone. 9 seconds left. Heck yeah, you're going to go for it both times, are you not?
I'm not
Another
sure.
three.
With their kicker.
And here's Greinert. Greinert under pressure, lets this one go. End zone, pulls it in. Touchdown! Oh, they're going to say that he dropped it.
That ball came out.
What a fantastic pass and partial catch. He absolutely laid out for that one. That was a thing of beauty. Going to be fun to watch that one on replay on 810varsity.com. Partner, I saw the wires kind of get right in my view. From my side, it certainly looked good. But we're about 200 feet away? And there's certainly a reason we're up here and out on the field wearing stripes. And here's Thunderfoot again. Ball's going to be spotted at the 27-yard line, making a 37-yard attempt. He goes from 46, and he goes from 37, and that might be a personal foul. A flag is thrown right around. Well, that's going to be awful tough. Now, how much time elapsed? I think they're going to have to they will, regardless whether or not it's an untimed down or not, but presumably you're going to have a couple 3 seconds put back on the clock if, in fact, it is a personal foul call. Well, not sure it is. Well, let's see. They're going to say offsetting penalties. Well, I'm going to have to look at that one on replay, folks, and get you a little clarification, but I can tell you this, without a shadow of a doubt, that the score is 28-6, a 22-point spread for the 4-time defending state champion Mill Valley Jaguars. Half of their way right now over the Ravens of Olathe Northwest. Only 7 miles separate these two teams, but more than that, separate them on the scoreboard right now. We're going to take a quick break, and we will come back in about 10 minutes for scores around the area, both on the Kansas and the Missouri side. And you were watching Friday night football from Mill Valley on 810varsity.com. And welcome back to beautiful Western Shawnee, Kansas. We are at Jaguar Stadium on the campus of Mill Valley High School. We're about 3 or 4 minutes away from the start of the second half of play. Gives us just a couple of minutes to go through some area scores. How about we start first with Bishop Miege and Blue Valley North. As we said earlier, Blue Valley North now being led by former defensive coordinator for the Jaguars, Drew Hudgens. And his Mustangs are down 28-6 at the hands of Coach Holmes and the Stags of Bishop Miege. Blue Valley Southwest and Blue Valley High all tied up at 13 at halftime. Blue Valley Northwest with a 7-point advantage over St. James, 21-14 halftime score. St. Thomas Aquinas now regains the lead over Blue Valley West, 28-21 early in the third. Olathe South and Lawrence, right now, Lawrence up by 13, 28-15. That's a halftime score. Olathe North 21, Olathe East 0. Shawnee Mission North, the Fighting Walters 21-7 over Shawnee Mission South. Sorry, Coach Bruce Bowe, but your Raiders are down by 14 to the Bison. Shawnee Mission Northwest, the Cougars 28, Shawnee Mission West 0. Shawnee Mission West is who these Jaguars will be playing next week at Shawnee Mission South. More on that later. Down K10, DeSoto up big over Lansing 28-6, halftime score. No score at Leavenworth and Turner. Piper up by 6 over Shawnee Heights, 6-0. Topeka Seaman up huge over Topeka West, 40-0. Another shutout, this one by the Cardinals of Eudora, up big over the Bulldogs of Baldwin, 34-0. Spring Hill 43, Bonner 0. They got Ottawa and Atchison at it, no score in that one. How about Manhattan 19, Derby 6. 13-point advantage for the reigning 6A state champion Indians over Derby, who they beat twice last year en route to that state championship. Goddard and Hayesville campus right now, Goddard up 24-8. Andover, May South, right now the Mavericks of May South up by 7, 14-7 over Andover. Mays 26-0 over Topeka. And I guess we have about, what do you think, partner? About 2 minutes before we get things going in the third quarter. A couple of scores of note over on the Missouri side. Park Hill and Rockbridge. Right now, Park Hill South 13, Rockbridge 0. The Northmen out of Oak Park up huge over Winnetonka, 55-15. St. Joe Central over Ruskin, 38-13. Truman and Ray South, 28-19, advantage the Cardinals of Raytown South. Belton and Excelsior Springs, 42 for the Pirates. Tigers at 20 of Excelsior Springs. Smithville and Raytown. It's all Warriors out of Smithville, 37-0. Here's one for you. Platte County 21, Kearney 18. And those are the scores from last week's over in Missouri. But the good news is I even have some from this week. How about that, David Trimble?
That is good that we got a recap of last week's games.
There were a couple of tight games. Not sure how they're gonna end up.
Opening week last week.
And we're gonna tell you what. We're just gonna go ahead and put a pin in on that, and we'll get back to those Missouri scores a little bit later. But right now we have another half of play between these two squads. The home team, the Jaguars out of Mill Valley. We went into halftime. The Jaguars were up 28-6. As we come out of halftime, we have the same score.
There was no score over halftime. And that would be Olathe Northwest won the coin toss to start the game. They deferred, so they will receive the ball to start this second half.
And the kicker, Kenton Loffman, big number 99. All first team Sunflower League in 2022. 70-74 from extra point distance. Last year he's a perfect 4 for 4. 4-4-4. Talk about those tongue twisters in the first half.
4-4-4.
Betty Botter. I'm not sure how many people tuned in to listen to us do the tongue twisters, but hey, you get what you pay for. Here's Loffman's kick, trying to go for his 5th touchback. It's got a chance. That one's going to be just a little bit shy, taken by around the 5-yard line. I couldn't see, and I beg your pardon, I just could not see the number of the returner, but I can tell you that he got it out just beyond the 20-yard line, and that is where the Ravens are going to start at 1st and 10 from their own territory, looking to get something going. At the end of the first half, they were able to get some points on the board to tighten this up just a little bit more. If they could put together a nice sustained drive here and get some sort of points, that's got to be a huge, huge confidence boost for this young team at the skill positions. Here's Mary Griner. Waits for the snap. 2 tight end look. Single receivers to the top and the bottom. Griner's going to keep it himself. Over to the right side. Heads to the sideline. He turns up. Finally pushes out of bounds around the 36-yard line. Couldn't have drew it up much better for the Ravens to start things off here in the third quarter.
And we're going to say that starting position was at the 22-yard line, which would give them their best starting position of the game.
At the 22, the best of the game. How about that? Well, of course, their others have been at the 20.
All the kickbacks?
Right. But they were able to get a couple of sustained drives in the first half, looking to pick up where they left off. 1st and 10, ball on the 41. Opening drive of the third quarter, Ravens with the ball. Merrick takes the snap, hands it off to his fullback. He's kind of almost a little bit in front of him when the ball was snapped. Kind of a halfback type. Let's see if they get that one. I think number 22, Evan Seifert. The 6', 205-pound senior in there to blow up that play. Loss of 2 makes it 2nd and 12 from the 39. Twin receivers to the bottom, single to the top. Receiver to the right pocket of Griner. Looking over the middle, a nice little slant. And I'm going to say that Jackson Lawler, or I beg your pardon, that was Mason Schlitterhorn. I think he might have heard footsteps.
I was going to just say that exact same thing. It was a little bit behind him, but I think he might have heard the footsteps.
He kind of pulled those back in there.
Yeah, not able to bring that one in.
I don't blame you, young man. Big third down. Of course, they're all big, but I'm going to say it anyway because that's just something you do.
It's the biggest one of this half.
Biggest
so far.
third down play indeed in this short early season so far for both of these squads. Little confusion in the secondary. Whether or not they can take advantage of it. There's Griner. Great job to get away from that pressure. He found the turf again, but his offensive line isn't giving him a lot of protection, but he didn't need it on that one. He was able to get that strike across the middle and all the way out to around the 47-yard line. That's still going to be a little bit short. It's going to bring up 4th and 5. You could presumably, is there a choice whether or not to go? Of course there's a choice, but 4 yards at some point. It's early in the season. You got a young team. You've got some playmakers at the skill positions. They're young, but what a great opportunity. And here's Griner. Boy, it looked like he might have had enough room. Not sure that that's exactly what the Ravens wanted out of that one.
And it'll be interesting to see. Oh, they didn't mark it up too far. I was going to say that one bounced out of bounds. It was going to be interesting to see where they marked that. Looks like it's going to be at the.
Now, Granted, we are on the opposite side of the field, so we don't have the best vantage point. But Griner, it looked like he might have had just enough space to kind of stretch out for that first down. And essentially, it's just a turnover on downs. 1st and 10, Mill Valley. First drive of the second half. 10:30 left to play here in the third quarter. Back into the game is number 14, Big Bohan. Going to get the nod to start the second half. He came in to spell Daniel Blaine about midway through the first quarter. Had a number of great runs, managed the game quite well for the Jaguars. Bring up 2nd and 10. Taking plenty of time, not in a big hurry. Single receiver, top of your screen. That is Schreiber, one of the favorite targets so far here early in the season. Fakes it to Baker, going to keep it himself. And they can make him pay for it, but he's able to cash it in for about 2 yards, maybe 3. Well, based on that spot, not even 1. That's going to be 3rd and a long 9 for the Jaguars.
And you got to credit number 50, Olathe Ashker, for getting in there and busting that play up.
Who?
Number 50, Olathe Ashker.
Absolutely it is. Very, very good. Well done, David Trimble. 3rd and 9, 9-12, 9-11 left in the 3rd. Bohan waits for the snap. Baker to his right, give him block. Run the right side, just a little bit too much mustard on it. Sails out of bounds, and that's going to bring up 4th and 9, and presumably a punting situation for Mill Valley, where you don't really see that all that often.
They were able to pick up 16 first downs in that first half.
They're going to line up right away. Don't be surprised if you see Bohan go ahead and take a couple of steps back after the hard count. Doesn't work for him, and there he is. And now dropping back. Not sure if that is Schlitterhard or not. Nice kick. He's going to bounce around the 20. Take a nice Jaguar bounce inside the 15. Trying to will it just a little bit more. That's number 28, I believe, for Mill Valley. That was Andy Watts. A special team standout for this Jaguar team. So trading first series here at Jaguar Stadium to get things started in the 3rd quarter. David Trimble, you were Coach Lauren Clark. In that halftime speech, what are some of your key points that you're telling your team, want your team to do?
I'm telling them that we need to get the ground game working a little bit. They had the passing game going for 2 or 3 plays for over 20 yards. So they have that aspect working. They got to get the ground game going because that will add even more options in the passing game later.
Griner waits for the snap, 1st and 10, deep in their own territory, hands it off to the right side, nothing doing. Tackle made by half the Jaguar defense. Not sure they're even going to get on that one. I think I saw Mr. Schaefer in there as well. Truman Griffith, Sam Coletti. Big number 51, the bottom of your screen, right on the right side of the line. 2nd and 11 after that, loss of 1. Over 3,000 unofficial in attendance here at Mill Valley to watch a little bit of Kansas high school football. God bless America. That one's a little bit short. Hit the turf before the hands. It's a turf around the 19. Would have been all right if it would have eventually hit the turf around the 25, but it was not to be. 8-10 left in the 3rd. 28-6 is your score here at Jaguar Stadium. You notice I haven't said the swamp a single time. Now I understand that they have some sort of a collection pond behind the press box here, but they're Jaguars. That's just not right. Here we go, 3rd and 11. Ball's on their own 13-yard line. Single back set. 3 receivers, 2 to the top, 1 to the bottom. Merrick under pressure. He's going to let this one go. And his receiver tripped up, looking for a flag. Whether or not it was catchable doesn't matter. And trots over to the sideline. He does. That was Garrett Cronin, I believe. Or I beg your pardon. That was not. In fact, that was Riley Jankel, the 5'11", 152-pound junior. Back to punt for the Ravens. Guess who? Big number 91, Legatron, Tanner Trashel. Call him TNT. Gets
And,
that
of
one
course,
away.
the snap from the number 1 snapper in the state of Kansas.
We've got Knox at the press box door here. we welcome
Braden
everybody.
Gorby.
Braden Gorby. Tell us about Mr. Gorby.
Braden Gorby has a 4.0 GPA and a 29 ACT. We mentioned that before.
And I'm going to have you talk. I want to do Mr. Gorby justice here, but right now we see Mill Valley taking the field and on offense. I'm curious to see whether or not this Raven defense can hold steady again. They did a great job the last time out. And here's Blaine back into the game, hands it off. All right, beg your pardon. Now that faked everybody out, looking for Shaken Baker to do his thing, but instead that was Blaine. And that play was blown up by the front four of the Raven D. Take a bow right there, gentlemen. That was a combination effort. That was Jake Brink, Nathan Leeper. Leeper, the All-Sunflower League honorable mention. Here's Blaine offset. It's Baker to the left side. Baker. Fake again, Blaine down the right side. He's got a receiver. Wouldn't that have been something? That was Davian Harris.
Just over the outstretched hands. That would have been a big play and gotten this crowd hyped up.
And that would have put Mr. Harris over 50% of his receptions, potentially, because that one, if it would have hit him in stride, he was going all the way to the end zone, most likely. Big third down, third and call it about 11, partner, for these Jaguars. They're up 28-6, but in this second half, the Ravens, a completely different defense. Behind that pressure on the front line, and it's coming again. With that one, Davian Harris kind of got turned around. He had a shot, and I think his momentum probably carried him just a little bit too much. Now we have a flag in the backfield, potentially in the spot of a hold or possibly roughing the passer. I didn't see it. We'll see here on the replay on e10varsity.com. A shout out to our great camera operator up on top of the press box, Hayden Kilo, doing a great job, as he always does for us. And that was, I believe, roughing the passer, personal foul, and that's going to result in an automatic first down for Mill Valley. A fortuitous call for the Jaguars, and what a gut shot to this defense of Olathe Northwest.
Yeah, Coach Clark is not going to be too happy about that one. They had been putting a lockdown, for the most part, on these Jaguars.
Twin receivers, one to the bottom, one to the top. Schreiber, Grayson Scott. Offset high now, number 24. That's Jaden Scobie into the game. Scobie gets the carry. Scobie coming into this season with 4 touchdowns in his career. Last season, he carried the ball 26 times for 128 yards for a whopping 6.5 yards per carry. Of course, that is right in line with the touchdown maker, Tristan Baker, who had 20 rushing touchdowns last year for the Jaguars.
Is that it?
That's it. He's in line for a lot more. Here is Blaine again. And finally brought down from behind, grabbed his arm. If not for number 5, at least it looked like number 5. It might have been Mason Schlittenhardt, I'm not exactly sure. Beg your pardon. Or that could have been Samimbo, Matt Samimbo. 6'1" senior. Another first down for Mill Valley. 6:17 left. And, beg your pardon, there will not be a handoff. Scobie faked us all out again. And Blaine, despite his size, he's listed at around 5'10", on my roster, 160 pounds. He's one of those players that plays about 7 or 8 inches beyond what his height actually is. Speaking of this one, going to Scobie, he found a hole. Bull rushes his defender down to the 10. And it's taken a little bit longer for some of these Raven defenders to get vertical. Mason Schlittenhardt again on the stop, saved the touchdown. Now first and goal yet again for Mill Valley. 5:35, 5:34, right side, tripped up. And here's a flag from the official. He threw that one all the way back from around the 20. The sandbag. See what the official word is. No indication whether or not Mill Valley is going to start walking back or not. That's the white hats. Might be looking to the sideline, the far sideline, which is Olathe Northwest, and it does now appear that this will go against legal use of hands. Or blocking the back. Potato. Let's just call the whole thing off. Or is that tomato? No, what was that? It's a song.
Call the whole thing
off. Yes. Come on, Mr. Trivia.
Speaking
of trivia.
Shamal?
No, that's Laverne and Shirley.
Laverne and Shirley.
All right. We are so far off the rails, but not nearly as bad as last week.
Just the first penalty on the Jaguars of this second half. They had an uncharacteristic 7 in the first half, bringing up a long 1st and goal.
Blaine takes it, hands it off to Scobie, the right side, gets inside the 15. Gets some of that yardage back. That will make it 2nd and about 2 touchdowns and extra points. 2nd and 14 from the 14. You could technically call it 2nd and goal, because they cannot get a first down. Well, Jaguars going the wrong way a couple of plays ago. Twin receivers to the top, one to the bottom, offset is Scobie. He gets the call, left side, clearing it out, and a great job. Number 5 coming to play in this second half. That is, and I don't know if the M is silent, but I'm just going to call him Matty M. Samimbo.
Matty M.
Matty M, indeed, playing with his hair's on fire, the big 6'1", 162-pound senior. He's been a treat to watch.
I'm not sure what the nose of a raven is called, but he sniffed that one out.
That would be a beak, David. Birds don't have noses. 3rd and 11, 3:48, 3:47 left to play in the 3rd. Blaine rolls out to his right, looks back to his left. He's got to receive. That's Scobie all alone and into the end zone. Touchdown, Mill Valley. Jaden Scobie with his first touchdown of the year and the 5th touchdown for the Jaguars in this game to bust this one wide open, 34-6. 3:37 left in the 3rd quarter.
Just the first passing touchdown, though. The previous 4 touchdowns were all runs.
How many passing touchdowns do these Mill Valley Jaguar quarterbacks have cumulative, the total?
Collectively between all of them.
All of them.
I'd think it would be in the area of 1.
The same amount of points that Mr. Loftman is responsible for. Again, he's perfect, 5 for 5, and we've got a 35-6 spread here at Jaguar Stadium. You are watching live on 810varsity.com. More from Olathe Northwest and Mill Valley right after this.
Get a shake with your points and some fries on the side with your points. You get more with every order. Woo! Get a Whataburger or a patty melt or some breakfast with the points. You get more with every order. Get a biscuit or a brownie, but no matter what you pick, you get more. Like your favorite Whataburger or whatever, 'cause it all gives you more with Whataburger Rewards.
And we are back. 3:37 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Oh, we have a couple of minute break here. Friends, whether it's balls and strikes, fouls or flags, your referees and game officials are a vital part of high school athletics. If you have ever tried your hand at officiating, you know how hard these men and women work, and you certainly know they would never miss a call intentionally. We're all human. Keep these in mind as you attend sporting events, regardless of the competition level or age group. After all, respecting others, including officials and authority figures is one of the most valuable and important lessons that we can teach our kids. This message has been brought to you by your friends here at 810 Varsity and the Kansas State High School Activities Association. Make it 5 for 5 for big number 99. Mr. Loftman with his 5th touchback. Oh, I beg your pardon. That is his 4th.
No, you're correct. That is number 5 for him.
I'm going to have to call a flag on that one because the previous kickoff was taken. Remember, they came out to the 22, David Trimble. Remember, send your hate mail to 810 Varsity. Attention, David Trimble. 3:37 left in the third. Ravens trying to do something offensively in this series, and they're off to a nice start. As they have the last couple of series, they start like a flash in the pan, able to move the sticks a couple of times, and then all of a sudden the defense of the Jaguars and their steely resolve, they bust out the neck rolls, and they just kind of tighten things up. Get out that defensive wrench, that socket wrench.
Working together as a prowl of Jaguars.
Prowl. Indeed. What about the Ravens?
I'm not sure if we want to say that on the air. It is a...
the red rum and
yeah,
and
red
reverse.
rum. We'll go with the red rum.
We're not. Trust me, we're not politically correct. We'll call it the murder of Ravens. Indeed. Greinert passes out into the flat. Little bubble screen. Clears out around the 33, 34-yard line. Generous spot. Makes it second and manageable for the Ravens.
And then again, if you can pick up that 4, 5, 6 yards on first down, that opens up so much more possibilities for second and third downs.
Just so great to see. Over 3,000 unofficial in attendance on a Friday night here in Western Shawnee, Kansas. See a couple of great teams go at it. Appreciate these young student athletes sharing a little bit of their talents with us. Here's Greinert, and he is met by the that prowl of Mill Valley showing us their talents, led by number 5, Jaden Woods. Jaden Woods, if you followed him and his recruiting cycle, how can you not if you are a follower of high school football in this area and throughout the entire region? He's already receiving, as a junior, no less, receiving offers from the likes of Matt Rule up in Nebraska, Nick Saban down in Alabama, and pretty much he'll be able to go wherever it is that he would like to go. There's, again, another kind of a looping pass down the sideline. I don't know, partner. It looked like that back judge was kind of reaching for his waistband, but he thought better of it. No foul called, despite the displeasure of the coaching staff on the far sideline.
He was just adjusting a little bit. He had to hustle down there to keep up with these young men, showing off their speed down there.
And this is going to be a punt back deep for Mill Valley. Clayton Sondergrath, as we see Tanner Trashel in punt formation, going to be standing around his own 20-yard line. Dowdy's going to have to move much because of the great lawn snapping ability of
Braden Gorby.
More on him in a second. And the lights are now out. Well, how about that, friends? Do not adjust your screens. We have potentially a touchdown, but I believe they're going to call that one dead because that's exactly what's happened to the lights. Well done. You see the fans in the stands on the far side. That would be the student section over there at Olathe Northwest.
I did hear a great number of whistles shortly after the lights went out, so I believe this one's going to be called dead.
Were they whistling at us?
I would highly doubt that, but
hey, you know what? Stranger things have happened. I mean, you come to an opening night football game here in Mill Valley, and this, lights go out. You always talk about that proverbial on there. The lights are out. The fat lady is the above-average weighted lady has sung, and, well, the lights are and just like that. just like that. As we see the great principal of Mill Valley High School, that's Dr. Gail Holder,
made a
woman's
rather
work.
quick exit to investigate the situation.
I'm sure there are no kids involved in that, I would suspect. But maybe there's kind of that Gothic light switch somewhere on a wall that someone like you or I would just happen to accidentally rub against.
Hey, what's this do?
Exactly. Well, now you know. Timeout on the field. 1:53 left to play here in the third quarter. Let's see what they decide to do, whether they're going to replay that entire sequence. I suspect they will. Because as you pointed out, plenty of whistles were being blown. That play is going to be blown dead. As a reminder, you can check out all of the Kansas and Missouri High School football scores 24/7, 7 days a week, 365-ish days a year at a10varsity.com. Nolan and Reese, Shad, and so many others doing great work back at the A10 Varsity Mothership.
From what I can tell, it looks like they're just going to replay that down.
Well, how about that? Finally got that one right. Speaking of things that are right, we have been handed a piece of paper that says, hey, we need to do the right thing and wish somebody that's been a supporter of high school athletics a very happy birthday. High school athletics throughout the entire Kansas City metro area that occasionally see her at different places that we're set up, and that is Linda Roth. Linda Roth is turning 37 years young today. Happy birthday to Linda Roth. I swear we were doing a basketball game last January, and someone with the same name had a birthday as well. That's rather odd. 37. Where's it? 36. Coach Appleby out there. He's not pleased. Always the coach's coach. He's out there advocating for his players. One of the best to do it. Not sure how many Coach of the Year honors he's received. And it's his 14th season here at Mill Valley. 115 wins against only 36 losses. 115 and 36. 6-time 5A champs. And oh yeah, the last 4 in a row. And he's not happy about something. He's got his headset off. Got a couple of coaches out there, this coaching staff of Mill Valley, like these.
They were looking for
Go right ahead
the
there, David.
official kicking ball. That's why they called the receiver back, because he was the one that had it last, and they were trying to find the ball.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to do this all over again now. Standing back at his 20 is number 91, TNT, Tanner Trashel. Getting ready to let this one loose, blow this one up. He had a nice-looking punt first time around. Going to do it again, and he's got plenty of air under this one. He's going to back him up around the 29-yard line. Out to the 40, out to the 45, and into Raven territory. I believe that is Clayton Sondergroff. Or was that Desmond Williams? Quite frankly, I don't know. And there is some yellow on the field where it does not belong. We got a couple of fouls. Not sure whether or not. And if you can watch that, there's a coach down there that is not happy. We'll just leave it at that. But we are happy that you're joining us here on a10varsity.com for this opening week salvo between these two teams. Right now, Mill Valley getting the best of Olathe Northwest, 35-6. 1:42 left in the third period. But speaking of, before all the action with the lights out, that reminds me, are we going to have offsetting penalties here? Indeed we will. We're going to go off 1st and 10, Mill Valley. Speaking of lights out, the Temple of Speed is where the Formula One crew will be racing at this Sunday morning. Here at Gasly looking for another podium after last week. But we are talking about a football right now. 35-6, 142 left in the third. Bohan back into the game, hands it on. No, beg your pardon, going to keep it himself. Not going to go quite as far as he would like. Great job. Another fantastic tackle by Mason Schlitterhard. And he has made, I don't know, I'm just grabbing this out of probably 15 tackles just like that. There are some players, and he is one of them, that no matter where the ball is, as a defender, somehow he's just got a nose for that ball.
He is all over the field, both sides, sniffing out plays with his beak.
With his beak, that's right. What is the nose of a Raven called? And here's Bohan. Inside the 40, falls forward, brought down by a big number, I think that was 65. That is Nathan Leeper, Mr. 27 on the ACT. No surprise here. Nathan Leeper also is in track and field. Well, how about that?
Throwing shot and discus.
Shot and disc for that Raven team. You know, it's funny, I think Olathe Northwest track and field, and they had a standout softball / track and field athlete that wasn't able to participate in. Well, enough about that. As you see, Connor Bohan try to kind of fall forward enough for the first down. Don't think he's going to be there. It's going to be, well, I'd say second and short. But I think they're content to just let this quarter run out. Indeed they will, 15-14 after 3 quarters of play here at Jaguar Stadium. Mill Valley up 35-6 over the visiting Ravens from 7 miles down K7, and you were watching it live only on 810varsity.com. We'll be back in just a minute with some area scores right after this. And we are back here live from Jaguar Stadium. Sean Brewer, David Trimble, and Hayden Kelo high atop the perch here at the press box. Hayden, I don't know if you can hear us or not, but there is a beautiful full moon over the east horizon. Maybe after this next series, you can kind of use the magnification on our camera apparatus upstairs to get a better look at that. All right, now we're going to have a better look at this offense and defense. The offense of Mill Valley and the defense of the Ravens. Now, here's something I remember watching this team, this Raven team last year against this same Jaguar team. Now, they were down, it was a shutout. I think the final score was 30-0. But one thing about it, I remember those Ravens playing to the end. Oftentimes, and I can think of 3 or 4 schools right now where if they get down a couple of scores, they start getting a little loosey-goosey, penalties start flying, and they just sort of give up. What we see out of this Raven team is a product of a very well-coached and a very disciplined team. Hats off to head coach Lauren Clark. He's only in his 2nd season as head coach, but clearly he's doing a great job of building the right, and I say that in air quotes, the right kind of culture with this Raven team. Yes, they're out there. There's so many of these players playing both ways, but just watch them. They are ready to go, and they're going to get in there and mix it up. They're down 35-6, less than 11 to play in this contest.
And the ball hits the ground, and it looks like Northwest has it.
And right on cue for the 2nd time tonight. My goodness. How about, and if I could just find $20 in my pocket. Nope, not there.
Didn't work that time.
But the Ravens do find a fumble, and that's one of those plays that Coach Clark and the rest of his staff are going to highlight. Again, 10:57 left to play in this contest. They're down 35-6. They're playing that hard to cause a fumble and recover it, giving their offense a chance to come back out on the field.
And that's got to be a huge boost for the offense and defense, both.
And conversely, on this near sideline, going to be a fantastic coachable moment to keep sharpening the saw, as they say, for this 4-time reigning state champion team of Mill Valley. But right now, the Ravens, 10:57 left to play in regulation, 35-6. Here's Griner. Lost one out to the near side, pushes out of bounds after a gain of about 9. Let's see where he stepped out. And he might have came down a little bit awkward. I think he kind of got his legs cut out from underneath him. And the medical staff will certainly come over and give him the attention that he needs. But Hayden, I think now would be a fantastic time if you could to kind of, there you go. Look at Hayden Kilo. How about that? Let's see. Can we see footprints on the moon? What's going on?
Looks like a blood moon.
I don't know what that is.
Just coming up over the horizon.
Look at that.
That's a fantastic shot right there.
Hayden Kilo, he is available for birthdays, bar mitzvahs, weddings, funerals, whatever it is. That is a great shot up there, my man, as we see the young athlete from Olathe Northwest still getting a little bit of attention, so we'll keep it right here on the moon. Gives me an opportunity to tell you a little bit more about just competition and, well, proper behavior. We'll just call it that. Tonight's game is not only a competitive contest between these two schools. Look at that shot right there by Hayden Kilo. Look at that. Reset. Tonight's game is not only a competitive contest between these two schools, but it's also an educational experience for the students involved. Because high school activities are all about learning life values, your friends here at A10 Varsity and the Kansas State High School Activities Association remind everyone to do their part in keeping our hometown sports a positive experience for everyone. When you attend your next game, do your part to help rekindle the spirit of citizenship by showing good sportsmanship. You'll be teaching a positive lesson to the kids and oftentimes the adults around you, and you'll be helping to preserve a proud tradition throughout the Midwest. Because around these parts, we might not agree with each other all the time, but on the whole, we know how to respect each other's viewpoints with civility and dignity. Speaking of other viewpoints, I feel I need to share some rather disturbing information about my colleague, David Trimble, but he has stepped aside just for a moment. I have no idea where he went. And I am going to save this little nugget that has to do with mustard and chocolate cake until he gets back. We're going to step aside here just for a minute, right here on a10varsity.com.
Biscuits and taquitos and breakfast on a bun. Those are just a few of the things you can make a part of your morning routine at Whataburger. Then again, with so many choices, you could make a routine of not having a routine. But would not having a routine still be a routine? Chew on that for a while. Whataburger breakfast, just like you like it.
That carryout comes in clutch.
And we're back. We have a little injury timeout on the field. Gives us just a couple of seconds to bring you up to speed on some area scores. How about we start with Blue Valley North and Bishop Miege. Right now, Bishop Miege running away with this one, 45-14. Blue Valley and Blue Valley Southwest. Looky here, folks. Blue Valley Southwest 20, Blue Valley 13. That is a fourth quarter score. More scores here momentarily. And we've got a special dignitary here that, he just left. We'll try to get Brandon Riffle here on the broadcast on an upcoming game here at Mill Valley High. 2nd and 5 run. A little bit shy. Going to bring up 3rd down and about as many. 10:36, 10:35 left here in regulation. Between the Ravens out of Olathe Northwest and the 4-time in a row, that is, 6 total state champions in 5A action, Jaguars of Mill Valley High School. I always appreciate coming out here to Jaguar Stadium. They treat us extremely well. Great hospitality. I don't know that there's a better press box in the area other than out there at Seback. That's just a fantastic, almost picked off. Couldn't quite get up there. There's an outstretched arm of number 2. That was Jake Fisher. He's only 5'9", 169 is the senior Jake Fisher, but if he had just a couple of more inches, he would have probably been able to get his paw up there and bring that one down and go the other way for potentially 6. Now we get to see TNT back at it again around I think he's going to be set up right around the 12-yard line this time for the Ravens, awaiting the long snap by Dean Gorby. One of the top long snappers in the country. Handing it to one of the top kicking recruits in the region as well. Nice punt. It's going to come up and roll to a stop around the 37-yard line of Mill Valley, and that's where they're going to have it. 1st and 10 with 9:53 to go. And a 29-point spread between these two teams, 35-6. I would suspect we're going to see Coach Appleby and Coach Clark get in some of his underclassmen and some of the role players to get some great real game experience. So we welcome David Trimble back into the booth. I don't know where the heck he went, but he finally decided to come back. Hey, let's go back to something I was saying earlier. We talk about, good citizenship and sportsmanship and different viewpoints. So I was about to share with our audience, I kind of felt the need to share with everyone some disturbing information about you.
David Trimble?
David Trimble, yes.
Okay.
That David has told me that he enjoys mustard on his chocolate cake. Let me repeat that for those of you that might have accidentally fallen out of your chair. David Trimble puts mustard on his chocolate cake. Care to explain?
To add a little bit of context to that, it is German chocolate cake. So there's a different flavor profile there. And then the mustard, I'm not slathering all over it with mustard. I'm just putting some mustard on there. It gives it a little bit of that vinegar to kind of offset some of the sweetness.
Because when I have chocolate, I always need to cut it down with a little vinegar because it's just too chocolatey.
You know what? Don't knock it until you've tried it, Sean.
Fair enough.
That's a little closed-minded of you. This is 2023.
Enough. And I just got done reading an announcement about being kind and considerate and good sportsmanship, leading by example.
Let's put some mustard on that chocolate cake.
Tell you what, though, this crowd at Mill Valley has just been different than in years past. We don't hear them berating enough about that. Let's get back to the action here. Mill Valley has it 1st and 10 from their own 37-yard line. Handing it off. There is Scobie again. You might have not quite got back to the original line of scrimmage. Going to bring up 2nd and 12. Jaden Scobie had a nice game, including a very nice run. Well, it was really a reception on the far sideline for 6 points. I believe that was the 4th touchdown of the afternoon or the evening for Mill Valley.
And that play right there was a perfect example of how these Ravens are not giving up. They were fighting, and they were getting him, and they tackled him for loss.
Blaine still in there, a signal caller. He hands it off again, and there's Scobie. What a tough runner he is. He's kind of got that low wheelbase.
I thought he was down at about the 44-yard line, and then all of a sudden I see him around midfield.
Kind of like you at the buffet last weekend. I thought, coming back from Rockhurst when we stopped at that Chinese buffet, I thought you were done after your 7th trip. Thought, that's it. Trimble is out, but you willed yourself back there.
Sometimes you got to dig deep, and that's what this Olathe Northwest team's going to have to do.
To stop this tide of offensiveness being displayed by the Jaguars. Beautiful evening here in Western Shawnee. Beautiful Western Shawnee, 78 degrees. But without that humidity, feels like it's about 50.
And compared to last week when we had heat indexes in the 120s, I will take this all day.
Hats off to those, at least the team that we are watching, Ray Peck and Rockhurst. So many players on both of those squads are playing both ways. As we've seen tonight out of Olathe Northwest, I was talking to some of the coaching staff out of Olathe Northwest before the game and said, tell me about your roster. Who are those players that you look at and say, hey, he's made a big jump, or he's just naturally a football player. And they mentioned a number of names, obviously Dean Gorby and Nathan Leeper, and a nice leap and a run by Jaden Scobie.
And I bet you'll never guess who was able to bring him down. That was number 12, Merritt Greinert, in there again for what seems like his 20th tackle of the game.
The 6'2" junior, he's, as I mentioned earlier, he added 15 pounds of muscle in the offseason. He's an absolute athlete. He's being looked at by a lot of large programs in the region. He's camped up at Iowa, Nebraska, K-State, down in Pitt State. He was a 2022 Sunflower League honorable mention selection from the free safety position. Certainly looking to add to that again this year. Quarterback keeper waited for his blocks to develop. Nothing really came out of it. 7-13, 7-12, and 7-11 left here in regulation. We'll bring you some scoring updates at the next break. Kansas and Missouri high school scores. Of course, you can always find those yourself anytime you'd like at 810varsity.com. David Trimble, when can you look at scores as we look at another ball carrier? Now, there's some extracurriculars there, or maybe it was just a bad advantage. Yeah, I think maybe. Love to see that sportsmanship. That was number 96.
Absolutely not. Not any extracurriculars. That was some great sportsmanship.
That might have been Jake Brink. What I saw, I didn't realize he was extending his hand. Jake Brink, good on you, young man. Jake Brink's another one of those guys, 6'1", 275. You put on 30 pounds. 30 pounds of protein-packed muscle in the offseason. There's an easy 5. Well, Croachman indeed. Easy 5 bonus yards for the Jaguars.
I think that might have been sophomore getting some playing time, number 39, Jack Goombalo.
There you go. Say that 5 times as we say, touchdown, Mill Valley. That is that is Blake J., the 5'11", 148-pound sophomore, Blake J. For those of you that have been around the Mill Valley program, you probably recognize that last name.
I was going to say,
Jay.
that last name has
Blake
a certain ring to it.
J., the younger brother of one of the all-time greats here to put on the uniform for Mill Valley, Hayden J., who, if I'm not mistaken, has taken his talents to play on Saturdays up just south of St. Joe, Missouri Western. Just a standout, a great athlete, but also, from what I've been told, also fantastic in the classroom and one of those guys that you just, they kind of check all the boxes and do things the right way. Just like both of these teams have done tonight. It's been a little sloppy at times, but for the most part, they put on quite an exhibition for this first week of action here in Sunflower League play here in beautiful. Have I said beautiful tonight before?
Western Shawnee. It is beautiful this time
all right off of Monticello. They're going to throw it over to commercial for a second. We will be right back for more live on 810varsity.com. The Jaguars and the Ravens. We'll be right back.
Jackstack carryout comes in clutch.
And back with you. We still have Mr. Loftman getting ready to do the kickoff duties. That's a great time to kind of look at some of the role players that we've started to see a little bit more on both of these squads. More on them in a second. But when you have rosters that are filled with, even though they might be juniors and seniors, you can really call them first-year players because they just haven't had an opportunity. Both of these squads, as I mentioned earlier, this Raven team was one win away from playing for a state title last year. One winner. They finished 8-4. They ran into the buzzsaw that is Gardner-Edgerton in that semifinal, or that sub-state final, if you will, game. Ended up losing, but not before. Just having a heck of a run earlier in the season. They started out with a big loss against these Jaguars, but they turned it around. And this year they have an opportunity based on their schedule, and no disrespect to anybody, but let's be frank here. As we look at the Ravens' schedule, they're going to go home at Sept next week. They're going to welcome in Lawrence Free State, and we might have another ball on the turf. No indication. Looks like the Ravens got back on top of it. But the Ravens are going to go back to Sept, just adjacent to Olathe Northwest next week, and welcome in the Free State Firebirds, followed with another home game against Olathe South, crosstown rivals. They're going to go on the road, if you will, quote, on the road to the same facility and play Olathe West. Then the next game they're going to come back, quote, home, play Olathe East. Then they have three games on the road at Shawnee Mission East, at Shawnee Mission West, and at Shawnee Mission North. Now, I'm seeing about 6, maybe 7 wins in there. But I'm not a gambling man either, so.
And Coach Clark knows that his team is a little bit younger, and they're going to have to get some reps in, and he wants his team to be a physical, hard-nosed football team. And I'm absolutely seeing that tonight. We got the kids playing both ways. They're still hustling.
You know, I had an opportunity on behalf of A10 Varsity to speak with Coach Clark before the season, and he shared with me more about coaching young men in the game of life as opposed to on the football field. I mean, it's no mistake, like he says himself, that as we see a long pass down the right side, kind of a fluttering pass, and, well, just as I mentioned earlier, some of the fans of Mill Valley have not really done a great job this year.
They had a perfect vantage point here right behind all of the players. They were able to see that.
Right, yeah.
The timing of that perfectly.
And I tell you what, the officials tonight, this crew, as so many others across the entire region, across the entire country for that matter, doing a great job. And it's as we both know, hopefully we can get back to Gardner and do some more of that this fall. That was so much fun. But as officials ourselves, we understand the unique situation of kind of being in the line of fire of sorts when parents and fans just don't agree, and sometimes players. But you know what? It's the game of life. Sometimes the calls are not going to go your way. And you just got to kind of fall in with it, man. So if you don't know how to overcome that adversity, because, hey, newsflash, sometimes in life you're going to get a raw deal. Sometimes things are going to go against you that really shouldn't, but that's what happens. And the same thing happens out here.
And absolutely. You know, with automation and things like that, the sport of baseball is, I believe, in the process of changing. They've got the strike zone, and they're just tearing up some of the umpires on their balls and strikes call. Football is not a game that you can do that. There have to be humans out there And unfortunately, humans make errors sometimes.
100%. As a Nebraska fan, I'm still bitter of a 1982 call up there in Happy Valley at Penn State as we see a nice, happy run by the Ravens. Get it out just across midfield into Mill Valley territory. 3:33 left here in the fourth. They're down 42-6 to the Jaguars, rather, but the Ravens putting together a nice little drive. And again, this is where you see some of that internal fortitude and see what the team is really made of. And I can promise you this is going to get as much attention from Coach Clark and the coaching staff. And there's a nice faked out everybody. He's got some room. 30, 20, dime, nickel into the bank. Touchdown, Ravens. How about Brett Piercy, the 6'2", 190-pound senior, coming in to spell Merrick Greinert, and he takes advantage of his opportunity to make it a 42-12 game. 3:03 left here in regulation.
And that's credit to that Olathe Northwest O-line. They held strong. They created the hole, and he found it and found pay dirt.
There's TNT for the extra point attempt. Make no mistake. Look out there. The car's on Shawnee Mission Parkway, a half mile away. It might be at risk. My goodness. That just kind of springs off his foot. A little rocket engine in there. 42-13. 3:03 left to play. Looking ahead to the Mill Valley schedule, their upcoming games. Next week, they're going to be, quote, at Shawnee Mission West. That is a game that is going to be at Shawnee Mission South High School. Now, that is an NFHS game. So for those of you that would like to watch it on a10varsity.com, you're out of luck. But you are in luck if you have an NFHS subscription, or if you pay, what is it, like $10 a month or something for the all-you-can-watch buffet. Not just, now in Missouri, not to poke fun at our friends across the state line, but they pay, or you have to pay per game. At NFHS in Kansas, you pay one amount for the entire month or the entire year, and you can watch as many games as you want. 24 hours a day if you want to.
And is that just football, or is that all sports?
That would also be State Swim and Dive, where you would be able to find yours truly, Mr. Trimble. But after Shawnee Mission West, they're going to go at Shawnee Mission Northwest, which I believe is going to be held at Shawnee Mission North High School. This is the Jaguars schedule. Then they're going to come back home. The next home game is going to be against Gardner Edgerton, the 6A state runners-up, and by many accounts, one of the top 10 teams in the state. Top 10 team in the A10 varsity. Top 25, as are these Jaguars. I believe the Jaguars are sitting at a comfortable 3 spots. But after Gardner Edgerton here, you're going to go on the road to Olathe South. I think that's going to be an ODAC. Going to come back here and play Shawnee Mission South on a Thursday night game. Then they're going to make the trip back down K7, and they're going to play, I believe it's at ODAC against Olathe North. One of the top, they're always loaded. Olathe North is always loaded to town. They can't quite get over that hump for a variety of reasons. And then they will finish up another Thursday night game back right here at Jaguar Stadium against Shawnee Mission East. So certainly a gauntlet of games for both of these two squads, but winnable games certainly in there for both. .255 remaining in this one. Right side, they're big number 40. Getting one of his first carries of the evening. That is Reggie Reese. Reggie Reese, hello. That young man, 6'1", 178 pounds, and only a sophomore. Reggie Reese. The RR. He's like a train, a railroad crossing. The RR.
RR
How about
crossing.
that?
And Riley Jankel, number 4 for Olathe Northwest, I think he definitely saved 6 points right there.
Caleb Sharp, the defensive end, he's doing great work there on the right side. Also part of that play to make that thing Got to slow that down as much as he could. Another one, this one going right up the gut. Trying to milk that clock. Just over 2 to play. Friends, this game has been another production of 810 Varsity and 810varsity.com. Your home for high school sports across this entire region. You can visit 810 Varsity 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to get the latest news of your favorite teams, check out player stats, so much more. As always, a big thank you back to everyone at the 810 Varsity Mothership. And again, we see the train punching his way beyond the 50, gets back to the original line of scrimmage, but a flag is thrown in the backfield, possibly in the area of a hold. We will see. No word yet. Clock is stopped. 1:40 on the game clock. 42-13. Mill Valley over Olathe Northwest. So we'll wait for that. I think they're going to back up Mill Valley a little bit. Yeah, that was a holding. But back to what I was saying, just a big thank you to everyone back at the 810 Varsity Mothership. Nolan Rader, Charlotte, Alicia, Linda, everyone else who feeds the squirrels, keeps the power flowing. We got Hayden Kilo up on the roof. Shout out to Hayden, doing a great job running that camera. And it is, what is it, Rodeo? Rodeo night? Here at Jaguar Stadium. I think the student section, we see a lot of cowboy boots, cowboy hats.
The last roundup,
Right,
I believe,
the last roundup.
for the senior night.
Right. Hayden Kilo, he's a sophomore right here at Mill Valley High. Does a remarkable job bringing the video right to your phones, TVs, computers, radios, and more. As we mentioned, next Friday, Mill Valley takes on another Sunflower League foe. Good, solid tackle. That's number 64. Like to see that. That's Lincoln Young. Only a sophomore. Wow. Got a lot of muscle behind that young man. But Mill Valley takes on another Sunflower League foe in Shawnee Mission West. As I mentioned, it's going to be at Shawnee Mission South. And that is just northwest of 435 and Null in South Overland Park. Olathe Northwest will play their next home game of the season next week at CBAC, College Boulevard Activity Center. As mentioned, they welcome the Firebirds of Lawrence Free State. Direct links to the broadcast of all the Mill Valley and Olathe Northwest games, like those next week, can be found at 810varsity.com 24 hours a day, and that's going to do it. Once again, your final score here at Mill Valley High School, Mill Valley 42, Olathe Northwest 13. On behalf of my partner and good friend, not that kind of partner, David Trimble, I'm Sean Brewer saying good night from Shawnee.